Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Next week is Chinese New Year, also known as Lunar New Year, also known as Spring Festival. So I thought this week I could do a little video introducing some of the culture, food that they eat, and different traditions surrounding that holiday. I want to start by saying that all of my firsthand experience with Chinese New Year was in Taiwan. I lived in Taiwan for about 4 years, but it is celebrated differently in different countries. Lunar New Year is a 15-day holiday going from Lunar New Year's Eve all the way up to Lantern Festival. This year, Lunar New Year's Eve is on a Tuesday, so I believe most countries that celebrate this will take that Monday off as well. Something I thought was interesting when I lived in Taiwan was if they had a holiday that was on an awkward date like Tuesday, for example, they might work an extra Saturday somewhere else. That way they can take that Monday off. That way their holiday is one continuous period. They don't have to go to work for one day and then have another day off. So even though it's often referred to as Chinese New Year, it is celebrated by many different cultures and countries, mostly by countries in the Sinosphere, East Asian countries like Korea, Japan, Thailand, Singapore, Taiwan, China, places like that. It's also celebrated by some Chinese diaspora in like Chinatowns in the US. And like I said, each of those different places and cultures will have their own way of celebrating it. But in this video, I'm going to talk mostly about how it's celebrated by Chinese speaking people. So I want to start with my favorite tradition, which is Chunlian. Chunlian means spring couplets. And basically what they are is they're red strips of paper that go on the side of each door, and sometimes they'll have one at the top of the door too, and they'll usually have 7 characters on each side and 5 to 7 characters on the top. I really like these because I love Chinese calligraphy. That's actually one of the reasons why I started learning Chinese. So every year I try to write my own Chunlian. This year I'll write some too, but not today. That video will probably be on my other socials like Instagram and TikTok. Anyway, these strips of calligraphy are usually hung outside of a door of a house or business, and usually what's written on them is relevant to what the homeowner or business owner wants to happen in the new year. Usually things like good luck or more money or success with good grades, things like that. Something related to Chunlian is called Chuntiao. And tiao means just a strip of something. And then also doufang. First I want to talk about chuntiao. Chuntiao are very similar to chunlian, except there's only one of them and there's only 4 characters on it. Similar to chunlian, chuntiao also will just write something that the person who wrote them is hoping for in the new year. Again, things like luck, money, fortune, good grades, things like that. Some of the common words you'll see on those are like fa cai, which means like to get good fortune, get money, or ping an, which means peace. And then going from chunlian, which is 14 to 21 characters, and then chuntiao, which are 4 characters. The last one is doufang, and doufang are usually just 1 character. I've actually written some already. My calligraphy is not as good as it used to be. I haven't practiced in a very long time, but these are what doufang look like. Another common character found in doufang is fu. This is what that looks like. Fu basically means good luck or blessing. One other interesting thing about doufang is that sometimes they're placed upside down, and that's because of the Chinese character dao, which means to arrive, and the Chinese character dao, which means to be upside down. So by placing the character fu, which again means blessing or good luck, upside down, it means they want that to arrive at their home. Another common one is the character chun, which means spring. Because Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year is also known as Spring Festival, it's the holiday that welcomes in the spring. Chun is a very common character to see. If you're a Chinese learner, I recommend trying to write your own doufang. It's very fun and not too difficult if you're only writing just 1 character. One other interesting thing you might see with doufang is they have multiple characters built into one. I don't always write those. I think they're kind of difficult to write, but if you want to challenge yourself, go ahead and try that. So the next thing I want to talk about is food. Again, different cultures will have different foods, but I want to talk about foods that are eaten by Chinese speaking people. One of the most common foods is nian gao, which basically means year cake or New Year's cake. It's like a rice cake. I don't really love it, but a lot of people eat it. Many other common foods eaten during Lunar New Year are puns or homophones with the Chinese language. Common example is the word yu, which means fish, and the word yu, which means surplus. They have the same pronunciation. One common phrase said during Lunar New Year is nian nian you yu, which means that they want surplus every year. They want extra every year. But it could also mean something like we want to have fish every year. Some other examples are Cheng, which means tangerine, and this Cheng, which means success. So they eat tangerines as a representative of success. The last food I want to talk about is related to Lantern Festival, which again is at the end of Lunar New Year. It's called Tangyuan. Tangyuan is basically like a little rice ball filled with, it could be really a lot of different fillings. The tangyuan is also placed in a kind of soup. All of the tangyuan that I've had before was really sweet, but I've heard there are more savory tangyuan too, if you're interested in that. My favorite tangyuan fillings are peanut or black sesame. The black sesame one's really sweet, but it's really good. I'm not sure if I can find any tangyuan in Phoenix, but that's where I'll be celebrating Lunar New Year this year. If you celebrate Lunar New Year, I'd like to hear about how you celebrate it in the comments below. If you want to learn more about Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year, I'd recommend checking out the wiki page. They actually separate them. Chinese New Year and Lunar New Year are different there. The Chinese New Year page going more in depth on how Chinese speaking culture is celebrated. If you'd like to see me write Chunlian, then I recommend following me on Instagram or TikTok, and I'll put that there. I might post a YouTube short on here as well. If I got anything wrong in this video, please correct me down below. I'd love to improve my knowledge about East Asian culture. If you have any other questions too, let me know down below. Hope to see you in the next video. Peace.